Namaste. My name's Radasi, and today I will share with you some practices from traditional Tantra. And it's my honor to share these practices. They have been passed down through my guru, Guruji Rajkumar Baswar. And I feel that they are practices that are less taught in the world, especially in the whole matrix of what is taught in the realms of Tantra nowadays. I'm here to share with you practices related to Japa meditation and how through these practices we can align our mantra practice more profoundly and also bring a beautiful element of respect to our meditation. And so it's really nice. I've particularly chosen today to share these practices with you because we are at the end of Navaratri. For those of you that don't know, Navaratri is a cycle of the nature. In fact, there are 4 Navaratris in the year, and 2 of them in particular we celebrate and connect with in our lineage. And we use these intervals in the nature. There's one in the spring and one in the fall to connect with the energy of the feminine. And this is kind of a baseline essence of Tantra, because for us, the feminine quality is the quality of energy. And during Navaratri, these periods have, I guess we could say, more of a potency in reference to the feminine energy. And so, yes, we're on the last day actually. And as you can see to my right, this is a yantra for the goddess Tara. And she is one of the Das Mahavidyas, the great wisdom goddesses of the Tantric tradition. And so for the last period, it's more commonly known as 9 nights. In our tradition, we have a little bit extra to cover the full range of this auspicious period. And for all of these days, we've been practicing mantra meditation, using a particular mantra given to us that allows us to connect with the goddess with various aspects of her energy. And so the Japa meditation has been a key element of our practice these days, and to be honest with you, is my main practice in spirituality at this time in my life. And so I'm very passionate about what I will share with you today. And I give great gratitude for these keys that have been passed to myself and others. And that's, like I say, I have the honor to share with you today. Okay, so where to start? There are just a few elements that I would like to cover in describing to you mantra practice. Now, if you already work with a mantra, great, like you stay with your practice, because definitely in spirituality, we can start to take little bits from here and there and start kind of creating too much of a mixed pot. So I'm not here today to kind of give you another practice, give you another mantra. But hopefully with what I will share, it will improve your practice of mantra meditation. And if you don't have a practice in Japa, then I can share with you at the end a very simple mantra. And with the techniques that I will share with you now, you can combine both and create a little mini sadhana for yourself. Okay. Mantra meditation is connecting with sacred vibration. So when we are given a mantra and we chant a mantra, we are repeating a certain vibration within ourselves. These vibrations are Sanskrit, and so they are connected to the cosmic science of the Sanskrit alphabet. And this connects us with beneficial energies in the cosmos. So the mantra that I will share with you today is actually a mantra to bring peace. You've probably heard of it if you're already in this field for some time. And what this does is it helps to give mental So what is important? We take our mantra and we articulate the mantra the best we can. Sometimes it's not easy to say a mantra for some people, especially if you're not versed in speaking Sanskrit. So practice your mantra. It will come over time. The more times you chant the sacred sound, the more the energy flows through to perfect it. So don't worry if it's difficult for you to say the mantra in the beginning. Once you have your mantra, we have a few tools actually, and one of them is what you can see that I have here with me now. I'm sitting on an asana. We call it an asana in Tantra, and basically it's a cloth. It's a designated cloth for our sadhana, and it's always made of natural materials, and it's, as you can see, this size of my body, so that no matter how I sit, if I'm sitting for long periods, maybe my legs need to be adjusted, but no matter how I sit, I can sit comfortably without my body coming off the asana. And when we sit on an asana as well, one thing that I just want to make a point is we don't sit on cushions. You know, it's quite common, especially if you're meditating or doing yoga, you'll sit on a cushion to prop your body up in this way. Actually, we don't do this in Tantra, because ideally the buttocks are on the floor, because it makes this connection with the base of our body, which is the initial container for our spiritual energy, Kundalini. And when we sit in this way, then actually the energy can move more easily up through the spine, and we have this grounded connection with the earth. Of course, for some of you, this may be really difficult if there is tightness in your hips and things like this. So actually what we recommend is do what you can in terms of sitting flat, but if you need to release the body, then the better thing to do is actually stand up for whatever you need, maybe a few minutes, 5 minutes, and then when you can, you sit back down and take this posture again. And you know, of course, if you have a medical problem and it's really difficult for you to sit like this, then there can always be the option to use a chair as well. Or this is only really in situations where there's not really another choice. And if you do use a chair, actually your asana will be placed under your feet as you are sitting on the chair, so that the contact of your body with the earth is made through the feet on the asana. And what this asana does, it actually creates like a base for your body, so that you are not losing the energy that you accumulate in your japa into the floor. So it kind of holds your body in, and I guess I could say like a sacred space of energy. And so definitely if you get uncomfortable during the sadhana, then you don't really want to take your foot off and start sitting like this, because as you can see, we lose the energy this way. Okay, so we're sitting on our asana. The mantra that I will give you today doesn't really need any specific color. The more you kind of work with different energies in Tantra, you will wear quite possibly particular colors, you will sit on particular colors of asana. But the one for peace that I will share with you is almost universal. It doesn't really need for you to do anything special. If you like to do, then it can be nice to wear white maybe, and have a white asana. But many times in Tantra, we often use a red asana, because red is the color for Shakti, it's the color of energy, as a kind of wider understanding. Okay, so we have our asana, we have the mantra, which, like I say, I will share at the end. And this can be enough, actually, for you in the beginning. I will teach a little bit around using mala today, But don't start to confuse yourself with using mala, because actually this is quite an advanced practice that people don't really realize. So I will come to that in a moment. If you're not using mala, then my suggestion is you can place your hands, if you're really a beginner, just place your hands like on your knees. This helps to ground your energy into your body. So if you feel like you are one of these typologies and your mind really does start taking you out, then putting your hands facing down on your knees can actually just kind of keep a groundedness in your body. If you're somebody that's falling asleep a lot in meditation, or you're kind of getting very heavy, then placing the hands like this with the palms facing upward can help to lift the energy. So the other thing is the eyes. Normally we close the eyes, but if you feel like it helps you to stay present, then just having the eyes open a little bit can work. And of course, how we sit, keeping the spine straight and in a vertical position, kind of holding an integrity in the body while you're sitting is really important. Because if, for example, you have a tendency to lean a little bit more to one side, or kind of get a little bit lazy in your body, then it's not going to be, your body is not going to be a vehicle for the energy to rise smoothly. And this is what we are ultimately doing. We are having this body chanting this sacred mantra, and it activates energies within. And so having the body in a position that if the energy does start flowing, or it wants to flow in particular ways, if you hold it in a position like this, then it's more beneficial for you. It's more beneficial for the mantra to be able to really work with the inner energy flows. And obviously that's a whole nother teaching in itself, of the path of energy through the spine and the effects it can have on the chakras. But I want to keep it relatively simple today, so we're not going to kind of go into a philosophy around that. But just keeping the body in a position, I like to call it a position of integrity, but also not kind of like holding your body in a kind of tense way, unnaturally, that somehow kind of restricts and will definitely, if it's not a natural pose, will create some tension at some point. Okay, so we have the body, we have our asana. Let's have a look at mala. So I just have two with me today. We've been using red sandalwood actually for Tara, for this Navaratri. But generally, for most people, they use Rudraksh mala. Of course, with different energies. For example, Lakshmi, in our lineage, we use lotus mala. But for the most mantras I've ever used, it's always been with the Rudraksh. So only really take a mala if you are ready for one. And when I say ready for one, is if you really know how to use it, if you really know how to take care of it. Because quite often I see, and I'm sure I've done it a few times, putting the mala around our wrists and even kind of wearing it as jewelry around the neck. If you are using a mala for your mantra practices and you wear it around your body in this way, it's not going to be kind of, I guess we could say, respectful to the energy that's accumulating in the mala. For example, when I say a mantra and then I'm using the beads, because if you don't know how to use a mala, what we do is every time we say the mantra, we go around the mala in this way. So I'm using my middle fingers, as you can see, and I'm just guiding each bead. And so what I do is I say the mantra, let's just say I say Om for now. So it's like Om. you see? So, and then I move and I'm going all the way around, but it's such a sacred process, because every time I touch that mala and I say that bead, sorry, and I say the mantra, I'm actually infusing each bead with sacred sound. And this is not a small thing. And so what we end up doing is creating an infused piece of, how to say, it's not jewelry, an infused piece of sacredness. You know, it's so valuable once it has these mantras embedded inside it. And so if you're putting it on your wrist, for example, and then going to the toilet or cooking food or walking around town, whatever it is, and somehow that mantra is kind of getting taken to places and touching like in the bathroom and things like this, that would be, if I'm honest with you, like really disrespectful in the tradition of yoga and tantra. So really be aware of that. What we actually do is, okay, sometimes I do wear my mala around my neck, but it's if I'm in a retreat or if I'm in a sadhana. Generally I take my mala off when I've practiced and I put it somewhere safe, maybe in a bag or something like this. So just be aware of that with the mala that you use for your meditation. Now, when we are chanting the mantras, what I need to say to you now is, when we have done a full circle, I've gone all the way around with my Om mantra, for example, and I get to the very end. Now, can you see there's a guru bead just here? This is kind of standing out from the rest. So say that I've worked my way along and I get to here. Then what I then do, instead of going over and jumping that bead, I actually turn the mala around and start to go back the way that I came. So when I do that, I turn the mala around. I'll just show you again. So I come here and then I actually just turn it around, only using these two middle fingers and the thumb. And then I continue back, okay? Moving along like this. Now, I also hold my left hand underneath, because just like we don't want the mala to be touching the bathroom or any particular areas around, I also don't want the mala to be touching my feet, because in India, the feet for most people are deemed of kind of a point in the body where a negative energy gets released. So we definitely don't want to point our feet towards, for example, a sacred yantra or something that we really respect. And certainly we don't want the mala to touch the feet. So what we actually do is hold the left hand in a position like this, okay? And my right hand, holding the mala, is brought up towards my mouth. And so it's looking like this when I'm chanting my meditation, my japa, and I'm moving along chanting. And of course, maybe you're thinking, oh my God, I have to keep my hands in that position for the whole time. Well, actually, ideally, yes. Because, of course, if it gets difficult, just relax your arms so you're not building up too much tension up there. But generally, if you have the mala closer to your mouth, then the vibration of the mantra goes more directly into the bead, as you can see. And so ideally, this is the practice. Of course, maybe you want to just rest your elbows on your body and kind of hold yourself in this way so that you can kind of relax the arms a little bit. But this is actually the recommended way, and it's the way that this has been passed down from my guru. And yes, I hope even if you do this all the time, you've learned something a little bit new here, if it helps to incorporate this into your practice. Okay, so we have the mala. So let me feel if there's something that I missed, because it's such a science in itself. Once you have finished with your mala, just be aware of, and even if you're kind of like finishing your meditation and coming down, just be aware of it not touching the floor or touching your feet. That's one quite important thing. Now, when you've finished your mantra, in fact, the one that I'm going to give you today, you can practice for an hour daily. If I be honest with you, practicing mantra for less than an hour usually doesn't generate the energy enough to really make a difference. My guru has a really nice metaphor. It's like boiling water. And if you boil water just for like a short period, then it's going to get warm, and then you let it cool down, and then you do it again, and it just only gets warm. But if you boil it for a longer time, then that's when the alchemy can really start to happen, and you know, the water starts to boil and then it turns to steam, and this is when you start taking the energy of the water to another level. And this is what we want to do within our bodies. We use the mantra to generate Shakti and to heat up somehow our inner fire. And then if we can get enough momentum behind that, that's when we can really get the results from our practice. So definitely 1 hour is recommended. The mantra that I will give you is generally a beginner's mantra, so you can I guess use it as well as you're walking around, like, because what you'll find is that the mantra maybe just starts to go around inside your head, and so it can be used generally as well, but actually sitting in this way, in like a kind of a contained and deliberate meditation, I'm going to suggest an hour for you. And then how long you choose to do that is your choice. If you want to continue it for a particular amount of days, it can be good. What is actually recommended, particularly for this mantra, it's a mantra of bringing that inner peace more and more, is use it until you really feel a significant change. And then when you feel that you've done that, then you can stop and then see how things unfold for you. And if you want to return back to it, then you can. Okay. So once you finish your meditation, we then come over onto our knees, because we have to finish the ritual of the sadhana and finish the Japa meditation. So obviously you'll stop chanting the mantra, and then you come down and you're going to peel back either one of the corners. It doesn't matter at this point which one. So you just peel one back, and then you take your forehead and you touch it on the ground. And then once you've done this, that point where you've touched it, you stroke the ground. You can do a little circle and then brush your third eye and brush the top of the head. And what that actually does is it seals the energy within you. And by there's also like a grounding feeling that occurs, because sometimes when we do this mantra practice, like I've said, it's connected to different cosmic energies. It can be quite kind of something where it's good to ground a little bit after. And what I really like about this, and it was said years ago, is it's also quite humbling as well to kind of brush the dust of the floor and put it on the body, because this is a big thing in Tantra. The more we generate energy inside of us, if we don't combine that with humility and finding ways to humble ourselves, then quite often that Shakti, that energy, inflates the ego. And this is one of the biggest downfalls and biggest traps actually in Tantra. So anything that we can do to bring humility is necessary, really necessary. Okay, so, and then of course, if we are in the presence, oh my God, if we are in the presence of a yantra, then, or your altar or whatever it is, then you will come down and also bow. And bow down in that mood of respect. Okay. One little thing that I need to mention, and you can always reach out to me personally if you want to get more information on this, because again, I don't want to go into a philosophy around this. But any mantra that we give out from our lineage, in fact, most mantras, if we are using these mantras, we have to make sure many things that we are creating the right conditions, both externally and internally, to use these mantras. So obviously we take care of our purity by taking a wash in the morning before we start, and you know, having a clean space in where we're practicing the mantra, and also taking care of our own inner energy flows. And there's just one important thing for me just to mention now, that if for women, if we are menstruating, we're on the first 5 days of our menstruation cycle, we are not to use most mantras actually, because the mantra, as I've said before, is creating an upward flow of energy. And when we are on our menstruation, the nature naturally wants the energy to move downwards in the apana flow. And so by using most mantras, what we do is we create like an indifference in the body. The energy is moving one way, we're trying to move it like this, and somehow it's not really that good for our own bodies, but at the same time it's not really that good for the mantra neither. So obviously this is you know, you've got your practice, you've got your traditions. I'm just sharing that if you use any mantras from the Sri Bhairavanand lineage that I'm sharing with you, then please obviously respect this, and if you need more information, then I'm more than happy to share that with you. And also I'm more than happy to share with you a menstruation mantra, a particular mantra that you can use to really work with your energy on those first 5 days of your menstrual flow. Okay, so just let me go inside, let me feel and think also of that I've covered everything for you today that is the most important. So let me share with you the mantra now. Okay, so the mantra that I will share is a very simple one actually, but very profound, and I look forward to hearing from you to see how you feel from this. Obviously give it a little bit of time to work. So the mantra is Om. I start again. It's Om Antariksh Shanti. Om Antariksh Shanti. Om Antariksh Shanti. Om Antariksh Shanti. And so we say this mantra continually, and actually we say it not out loud. In our system, you either say it mentally, but actually, especially if we use a mala, we actually say it in a way that's just not quite audible for the others, but audible for ourselves. So it's like a little whisper, and it's a movement of the mouth as well. So it's like this. So there's only me that can hear it. And I do like to practice like this generally. Okay, sometimes I slip into just the mental repetition, but quite often in my own sadhana, I chant in this way because it also feels like it generates the energy as well, through the movement of the mouth and that subtle expression of the words, of the subtle sounds. And so this is it. This is it. So it's your choice to use a mala or not, but if you do, please have a completely consecrated mala for the practice. Keep it safe with you. And when you have your asan as well, don't let the other, don't leave it around for other people to touch it. Keep it just as safe as your mala, because it gets infused with the energy of your practice. And again, you don't want to lose it in that energy in various ways. And then I think that's it. If I forgot something, I'll put a little note on this video, okay? So I wish you well in your practices. I wish you well on the path of Tantra. And yeah, may we all be blessed with pure practice and pure heart.